Welcome to episode 2 of LJ's Card Shop, Man with a Mic. I'm Chris, and I'm just a man with a mic. So basically what I'm doing here is spending X amount of time with no script, no agenda, just talking about sports cards, sports in general, and just rolling with it. But with the huge news today is Elly De La Cruz just got called up to the Reds, MLB's #1 prospect, and kind of hurts, don't it? We had tickets to go on Thursday. One of my buddies over in the office had tickets to go tonight. It's like, oh, great, your favorite team just brought your guy up. But it's like, hey, I was going to go see him tonight. But Vado's still in town on a rehab assignment, so maybe we'll check that out. But talk about prospecting. Like, when is your best time to sell the Elly cards? Like, right now. Talked about that on the Friday Facts. You just got called up. He goes 3 for 3 with 2 home runs tonight. Boom, cards skyrocket. He goes 0 for 3. You know, probably nothing, goes over like a week, and they're going to go down a little bit. But the best time to sell your card is right before call up or like day of. Like, I would have sold them last week, but I'm a Reds fan, so I'm holding on to it. I'm not selling my Reds cards. Which brings me to another point about Jonathan India. Being a Reds fan, you know, it's hard that I've got some high-end Jonathan India cards, but I don't want to sell them. It's like, hey, I can get $300 for this card, but I really like Jonathan India. I don't want to sell it. So when you're buying things to resell, don't buy stuff that you like because you're not going to sell it. Like, I went to a card show over the weekend. It was a Pokemon show. Bought a couple of things that I really like. I'm like, okay, hey, I can grade this. I can make some money. I can do this. I can do that. Then I start looking at them like, ooh, this is a really good addition to my collection. You know, my daughter had set up and I was just helping her, but, you know, I've got my own money too, so I bought some stuff. Looking into it, I'm like, dang, man, I really like these. I don't want to sell them, but, you know, it's Pokemon, so I'm going to get them graded and sell them. But should they have been like Jerry Judy's for the Broncos or India, Elly De La Cruz, like, I'm buying them and I'm not selling them. So the stuff you want to make money on should not be the stuff that you like because you're not going to sell it, right? You're going to want to keep it in your collection. Since I started working at LJ's Card Shop about 1.5 years ago, I had my own LLC for about 3 years before that, and I have drastically changed the way that I collect. Seeing the collection that they have here, talking to the GM, the other guys here, and how they collect and why. Like, I would rather have the 5 best Jerry Judy cards that I can have than have 7,000 of them. And I know, like, one guy, you know, 1 million Cubs, his goal is to collect 1 million Cubs. Great. Hope you reach your goal. Like, that's awesome. Collecting, collect what you like, collect what you love. Collect your way. You know, I'm listening to a podcast this morning, and guy collects early 90s hockey cards of OPG because that's where he grew up in Canada. Wonderful. Or putting together, like my daughter collects Jesse Winker cards. Jesse Winker cards are not expensive. Half the time they give them away to her because she's 7 and she collects, so people just send them to her in the mail. For a while there, my son's got a Cooper Cup collection. People are just sending him stuff till they're actually, you know, worth something. But kids in the hobby, it's huge to be able to generate the next generation, populate the next generation of collectors, whether it's Pokemon or Magic or sports cards or now the Disney cards coming out or whatever it may be. The hobby is gonna continue, and you can hobby your way. You know, listening to other people, another podcast, it's like, hey, I got priced out of the hobby. Like, I can't afford a $1,400 box of Prism. Yeah, but you can afford that $4 Kenny Pickett. You can afford that. I understand the chase, the thrill of opening a box of cards. There's just nothing like it. I mean, I'm going to buy a bunch of Series 2 next week just because I always buy flagship, but it's going to be crap. I already know it. But that's what I do. I like enjoying the cards. I'm going to open a jumbo box with my wife. My wife enjoys opening cards. So it's going to be a good time. Maybe my kids will jump in on that. Typically, they like football and Pokemon. My daughter likes opening up baseball and hopes for a Jesse Winker. But we'll see. But, you know, the enjoyment of opening packs and boxes has to be there. I remember talking to my buddy K-Dub when Optic basketball boxes were like $385. I mean, now they're way more than that for, you know, the hobby went way up. But I was like, man, I could not enjoy opening that box knowing I spent $385 on it when I could have bought every single card in that box for probably $65. I mean, you're chasing XYZ player, you're doing this, you're doing that, but at some point, it's like, man, I could have, $1,400. Those are plane tickets to Orlando for my family to go to Disney, or a box of Prism. It's like, hey, that's my mortgage payment this month, or a box of Prism. Hey, you know what? My car's kind of old and broken down. I could have this Trevor Lawrence RPA or a used Toyota. It's just getting your priorities in line, and you can collect what you like. Just because you can't afford hobby boxes doesn't mean you can't go out and find, I was born in 1982, so those cards are actually pretty expensive. It's for boxes, Cal Ripken's year, but I could find 1982 cards to collect. Or my wife was born in 88, find 1988 cards to collect. I've got every Topps Complete set for each one of my kids for every year they were born, collect stuff like that. Or, I like Jay Cutler. I like collecting Jay Cutler cards. Jay Cutler cards are not expensive. Jake Plummer. Jake Plummer cards are not expensive, but you know what? I would love to find an awesome Jake Plummer card on eBay for 20 bucks rather than buying a Heritage Blaster and getting a Fernando Tatis out of 99 or something like that. It is just changing the way you collect and changing the way you feel about things. Like, you see people on Twitter, on Instagram, or whatever, like, hey, I'm in a collecting rut. I'm in this, I'm in that, I don't really feel it anymore. Then it's time to step back and take a break. If this is no longer fun for you, it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. For me, it just happened to turn into a career where I'm unbelievably fortunate to go into work every day and have some amazing things come across my desk. Like, my boss today just brought me over 3, super awesome PSA 10 Pokemon slabs. Like, how cool is that? And I'm listing some 1956 PSA vintage cards on eBay this week. And it's just awesome to learn about the different eras of sports cards. What people consider vintage in 20 years, what's going to be considered vintage. Are people going to, 78 and older? Or is vintage going to include the junk wax era in 20 years? Like, I don't know. But I can tell you that they're not going to make any more Cal Ripken rookies. They still might put them in the Don Russ products or something like that, or short print and Topps. But like Pokemon printed something like over 1 billion cards last year. Topps, we'll see what happens when Fanatics takes over, but you can already see the ball rolling in different directions for Panini and Topps with redemptions and new products, taking products away. But it's really going to be interesting to see is just, man, collect what you like, collect what you love, and sell what you don't. Like, I have moved my collection. Well, I'm trying to. Now, my wife decided she's going to stay home and raise our kids, and that's just amazing. I absolutely love that. We were fortunate enough that she could do that, and so she's helping me with the shipping. She's helping me, sell some of my cards here and there, and it's awesome. But I have completely changed the way that I collect, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to collect the same way your whole life. Drew Lock went to Seattle. I'm not going to collect any Seattle Drew Lock cards, but if he's a Broncos card for cheap, I'll still grab him. Paxton Lynch, I'm going to get rid of every single one of your cards because I don't like you at all. Or, Michael Vick, I'm going to feed you to my dog. But, I really like Christian Laettner cards. I know like 3 people who collect J.J. Redick. Former Duke players is stuff I like, or former Notre Dame guys. For football, a lot of people don't like the college cards. Like, I absolutely love the collegiate cards. Like, I would love to have some Notre Dame cards. I got a game used Cole Kmet jersey patch auto for like $17 in my LCS last week, or a couple weeks ago, whatever. But the whole thing is, the man of the mic today is collect what you love, collect how you want. You can have influences like Eloy the Goat. He is a huge influence on the way I collect and how I collect, how I started, just how I am in the hobby, just generally. I see a guy who collects Dirk Nowitzki. I got a Dirk Nowitzki auto basketball sitting behind my desk. That's mine. I want it in an NCAA, bracket contest. I don't want that. I could sell it. I'm just going to send it to this guy. Like, how happy is that going to make him? Rack City. That's what we're all about. Anyways, Ellie got called up. Sell your Ellie if you're not an Ellie fan. What are the chances he's Acuna or Soto? He is the #1 prospect. He is a unicorn. He is just so good. But you know what they say, Charizard can't tear an ACL. Pikachu's not going on the DL. Like, he could literally come up today, turn an ankle, and never play a game again. If you've got money in it. Another thing is a question for the audience. If you're listening to this, leave a comment. Do you count your profits in dollars or percents? So say you bought a card for $1, you sold it for $2. Is that a dollar profit, or is that 100% profit? Or same thing with like $3,000 to $3,300. Is that a $300 profit, or is that a 10% profit? I want to know how you collect your wins and losses, if you count it dollar signs or percentage points. All right, we're heading up about 11 minutes. The goal is 10 to 12, so we're gonna end it here. The Man with the Mic podcast. Now it's really LJ's Card Lounge, but Man with the Mic is just me up here talking. So thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe, follow, comment button on whatever platform you're on. We should be on all of them by now. Hit us up on the socials. Twitter mainly is what I'm active on. We're on IG as well, and hope to hear from you guys. Thank you.